Welcome to a Vanguard news video without the BS. Let's get started. Bushiroad has cancelled all shop tournaments for June 2020. So even if your country's quarantine has been lifted, you still won't have the chance to flex your shiny pieces of cardboard to your friends who dropped the physical card game for Vanguard 0. Pastel Palettes cards were revealed last week for VTB01. I'm only reviewing them now as to stretch out this news video. The grade 0 Aya is your typical starting Vanguard for the V series is to make every start of the game as bland as possible. The grade 1 Aya when placed to Vanguard or rear guard lets you add her namesake from the top 7 cards of your deck. And if you did, discard a card from hand. Comparing this to grade 1 Kasumi, you can tell which bang got more attention and who were just scraped from the bottom of the barrel. The grade 2 Aya when placed to Vanguard or rear guard lets you place one pastel palette card from your deck into your soul. This ability can only be used with the same card name once per turn. Meanwhile, Pale Moon and Arca regular players have suddenly had the urge to build this deck. Maya when placed on rear guard lets you place any number of pastel palette cards from the top 3 cards of your deck into your soul, then place the rest to the bottom of your deck in any order. Why is the most colorful band in Bang Dream trying to simulate most of the Dark Zone clans in Vanguard? Eve when placed on rear guard lets you soul charge one card. And if your soul has 5 or more pastel palette cards with different names, she gets the ability to intercept from the back row. Why did they have to put one of my favorite endings in Gintama as her title? Now I have to get a copy of her for collection purposes. Hina gets 5k power and shields if your soul has 5 or more pastel palette cards with different names. And when she attacks while on rear guard, you can pay 1 counter blast to choose 2 pastel palette cards from your drop zone, then add one of them to your hand and put the rest into your soul. Pale Moon and Arca regulars would kill for a support like this. Unfortunately, they have to stick to randomly soul charging from the deck like a peasant. Chisato gives Uriah Vanguard 5k power if your soul has 5 or more pastel palette cards with different names. And once per turn, you can place a pastel palette card from your hand into your soul to get 1 card without her namesake from your soul. If you got confused by her continuous ability, it is because it only works if you use their music order card. Yura Ring Dang Dance is a grade 2 music order card when used while you have Aya on the field. Lets you discard 1 card to call Chisato from your deck. Then if Aya was your Vanguard when using this ability, the circle that Chisato was caught becomes a Vanguard circle for that turn. For those still confused, this is basically V-Series Ganselat's ability, but on an order card. The grade 3 Aya gives all your pastel palette units 5k power. If your soul has 5 or more pastel palette cards with different names, it becomes 10k power if you have 8 or more. And if you haven't used a order card this turn, you can pay 1 counter blast to use a pastel palette music order card from your deck or drop zone. It wasn't enough they copied Pale Moon and Arca regulars mechanics but better, so they also gave them Royal Paladin's mechanic as well. Shuwarin Drea-min is a grade 1 music order card when placed. Lets you draw 2 cards and discard 1 if you have a pastel palette unit on Vanguard or rear guard. Can anyone say graceful charity? Kiu My Flower is a grade 3 music order card when used. Lets Uriah Vanguard attack all of your opponent's units if your soul has 8 or more pastel palette cards with different names. It wasn't enough for them to copy Ganselat. Now they copied Exculpate the Blaster. Here we have their triggers, which you can use 12 copies of their crits and 8 copies of their draws. And here is Bang Dream's generic draw trigger Perfect Guard. Expect this to be $50 or more due to how many deck builds require this quote-unquote staple card. Get your magical sticks charged and ready. Emma's Magical Girl spin-off has been reconfirmed to premiere on May 30th, 2020. I posted an edited version of their trailer because Bushiroad Music claims any music from Bang Dream that and a boy band singing for such a spin-off doesn't fit with this genre. Links are on the upper right corner. Japanese Vanguard Zero's new event will let you obtain a Gainaxing version of Battle Sister Cocoa, as well as some new sleeves from May 15th to 31, 2020. The SP and SSR cards for VTB01 won't use random CGI screenshots from the anime, and will instead use actual illustrations with hot stamp signatures as to give both collectors and competitive players a reason to wail on this set. Expect Vanguard players selling these with 5 times the markup to a non-Vanguard player that collects Bang Dream merchandise. Speaking of cardboard with artificial signatures from famous voice actresses, the V-Series Nitros and Harry will have a special print using their G-Series artwork. And the VBT-09's Japanese release date is on July 31st, 2020. The final 2G units in Premium Collection 2020 has been revealed because they had to pair the most underwhelming clan with the most sought after one. Deprenor is a mega colony G unit that when it attacks, lets you pay 1 counter blast and turn a G unit face up to make your opponent flip 3 of their G units face up on their G zones. Then 3 of your front row units get 15k power for each G unit that was flipped with a power value. I can't wait to face this unit using my double heritage ZTB deck. Finally, Federica when placed on Vanguard lets you reveal 10 cards from the top of your deck. If all of them have different names, you can call up to 5 different named mermaid units with power value from your G zone to rear guard. Then they get 15k power and can attack from the rear guard. This proves Bushiroad Zarandi's incompetence once again, since the fact that this card doesn't state normal unit means that 9 out of 10 times you're going to get screwed by your trigger units. And that concludes this Vanguard news video. Be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments what other clan will the remaining Bang Dream clans will rip off.